Hey guys, check me out. I'm gonna do a short sale real quick. Here's how this goes. Smoking Tire vintage look shirt with no car in it, in blue and in red, and we're only gonna sell them for 10 days. July 31st through August 10th, that's it. Hit the link in the description, buy one of these shirts, and come August 10th, we're taking them down and we're never putting them back up. That's how it's gonna go. Limited edition sale, get them while they's hot. Hit that link. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the back roads of North Carolina. And if you're watching this video, don't email me asking to hang out in North Carolina. If you're watching this, I'm already gone. Trust me. But here we are in the brand new 2018 Camaro ZL1 1LE. So what this does is it takes the new ZL1 package for the Camaro, which is the Z06's LT4 Supercharged engine, 650 horsepower, 650 pounds of torque, and it adds what they're calling the Extreme Track package, and it is quite extreme. You get a completely redesigned front end with dive planes and a big front splitter. You get new front quarter panels, which are wider to cover the new forged alloy wheels. You get that big wing in the back, and those wheels are lighter than the standard ZL1 wheels. They're an inch smaller. They're 19s instead of 20s, but they're an inch wider. So 305 tires in the front, 315 tires in the back, and those are a new Goodyear compound, which I will talk about in a minute. They're basically slicks with grooves. I mean, they have a tiny little bit of tread, but they're basically slicks with grooves. What they haven't done, and I'm so happy about it, is they haven't stripped the car out. This thing has a nice Bose stereo with nav, leather, and Alcantara. It's got heated and cooled seats. You know, when I drove the Z28 a couple years ago, it was like the stripper model with the one speaker and the no air conditioning, and it was brutal. And so this car is not only faster than the old Z28, it doesn't strip out all of the things that you want in a $70,000 car, and that's the base price of the ZL1 1LE. It's $70,000 bucks, and boy, is it a lot of performance. I spent all yesterday at VIR with this track for our drive on NBC Sports show, so you're gonna be able to see that later in the year. Today we're just gonna hammer it down a road and talk about it. So let's have a go. It is ludicrously fast. It pulls with an insane velocity in absolutely any gear. In fact, it's geared so that at 75 miles an hour in the highway, you're exactly at peak torque, which is around 3,500 RPM. So if you mat it from 6th on a highway roll, you're right at that peak torque number. Unlike the Corvette Z06, from which this car gets its name, the ZL1 has a massive frontal area with 11 heat exchangers. And what that means is you can hammer the snot out of this thing all day long at the racetrack, like I did yesterday, and not overheat it. Yay, joy of joys. It also doesn't even really seem to lose power over a long track session. Again, joy of joys. Whereas the standard ZL1 comes with either the new 10-speed auto or the 6-speed manual. The 1LE only gets the manual, so no auto for these guys, and that's good because this is a driver's car, and by that I mean like proper racing driver. This thing is really a handful. It's kind of intimidating. It requires some wrestling at the limit, especially in the wet. I drove it in the wet yesterday, and it was very twitchy. It was really struggling with grip, and it went from understeer to oversteer to understeer to oversteer. It was tough to manage. Fortunately, as we have caught up to a car already. I gave this guy like a minute and a half gap. Fortunately, the PTM modes, the performance traction management, really does work. So, you know, if you turn everything off, this thing is a bit of a handful. If you go into your different modes and go into wet mode or Sport 1, Sport 2, the traction control really helps to keep you in line without sucking the fun of the car away. It allows you to basically, you know, keep it straight. I'm gonna flip around, but it's got so much horsepower and torque. Turning radius, not terrible actually, considering the car. First gear. That's the traction in sport. 0 to 60, 3.5 seconds, quarter mile, deep into the 11s, but that's really not what this thing is about. It's not a drag car. It is a corner slayer, and for that, it's all about grip, suspension, and aero. So as far as grip goes, these new Goodyear F1 tires are specially formulated for this car, and they're the first Goodyears in a long time that I've really liked. They're sticky in the dry, and if you get them really hot, they don't just go away. If you start sliding the car and getting the rears really hot, then they actually hold up and they will be consistent through those slides. They don't just fall off a cliff, which is great. Downside is, in the wet, at the limit, it's pretty sketchy. Now you can drive home in the wet. If you get caught in a rainstorm and you're careful, you don't need to worry. But if you're on a wet track day and you're trying to drive fast in the wet, this thing's a real handful. But as it dried out, I got confidence in the car, and oh, is it a monster! It's so fast. Oh my God! Look at it. You're getting a lot of trouble with this thing. Bluetooth device connected. Thank you. I'm going to turn right, and I have not been down this road before, but on the map it looked like it has curves on it. Real quick, the one thing I don't like about this car, two things actually. One is when you fold the rear seats forward to get stuff or people in the back, they don't just stay forward. You have to hold them there. That's kind of an oversight. And then also, which it's minor, but it's a thing. And then also, no lumbar support in these Recaro seats. They are comfortable, but I would like some lumbar. And then the last thing is the clutch engagement from a stop is kind of weird. It's hard to get your timing right, but you do get used to it. Corners, yes. So that aero package. At the front, you get dive planes and a big splitter. At the back, you get that nice carbon fiber wing, looks straight out of motorsport. And what the dive planes and the splitter do up front is they help reduce lift that is generated when all those heat exchangers suck in air under the hood. You get lift there, and it helps counter that. And then at the back, that wing helps to generate 300 pounds of downforce, which really does keep this car sucked to the ground at speed. And oh, this seems like a great road, but we are behind a truck, so I may have to pull off. And while I find a spot to wait it out, yeah, good a spot as any. Okay. So that's downforce. The other thing is the regular ZL1 has mag ride, which is great for touring and then also for track use. Remember, the standard ZL1 is a ridiculously potent track machine. It's within spitting distance of proper supercars, and that it's very impressive. This one, obviously even faster, but it's got these Multimatic coilovers with spool valves, which you may have heard before. The Ford GT uses them. And as a proper demonstration there, Formula One cars use a version of them too. But what you can see here is the 1LE package is not not really good as a touring car. Oh God, this road has really gone downhill quickly. Overall, overall the roads in this state are pretty good, and these shocks are really, really stiff. It's just not ideal as a road car or an everydayer, or God help you if you live in New York, Boston, Philly, or LA, or DC. It's gonna kill you. This is optimized for Nurburgring and for racetracks, and at that, it is brilliant. You go on a track with this car, and wow, the performance is staggeringly good. But you got to be honest with yourself with one of these cars. What is your real world usage of this car? I don't recommend buying it if you really want it as a road car. Like people like me will buy a car just because it's the top one, and where other 1LE packages in the SS or the V6, they get the mag ride. This 1LE package gets a very, very stiff suspension that can be just brutal. And we've now hit a little bit of town, so we're gonna flip her around. But yeah, it can be tough. This can beat you up. Let's find where's a friendly looking driveway. Oh, here we go. Dirt lot. See that? Yeah, see, it's weird clutch engagement. All right, we'll cruise slowly out of this town. So the ride is a little tough, and same thing kind of with GT350R, but that does have magnetic ride, and so there is some level of adjustment between normal road use and track. This one has one suspension setting, but you can adjust the steering. I like the lightest steering setting. The heaviest one is a little heavy. You know, some standard Camaro issues do apply here. It's tough to see out of. There's not really a lot of room in the back. You know, it feels big. The one thing I will give the Shelby Mustang is that as you go quick, it really feels like it shrinks around you. This car feels big, you know, kinda all the time. It's just, I can never really see where to place it. And even after a day at the track, it still felt big. Now that doesn't mean it don't dance. It dances, and it's around 3,800 pounds. It's 60 pounds lighter than the normal ZL1, and that is thanks to a lighter rear window. It's thinner glass. There's no more pass-through. The rear seats don't fold down anymore, and also the wheels and suspension are lighter than stock, so you actually have a big reduction in unsprung weight, which is great. Unsprung weight is more important than sprung weight, meaning weight that is off the suspension versus weight on the suspension. If you're reducing unsprung weight with lighter wheels, lighter shocks, lighter control arms, stuff like that, it will have the effect of much more weight off that car in general. Bumpy over here. Oh, okay. But it is fast. Oh, cyclist. It is extraordinarily fast. The power band is super wide. It really makes power everywhere. It doesn't stop all the way to the 6,500 RPM red line. It just goes. It may actually rev a little over 65. I think I got it over 65. And we're stuck behind a car. Well, almost done with this video anyway. It sounds good. It sounds mean as it's doing a drive-by. You get that supercharged, which is great. But the question you all want to know is ZL1 or GT350R. For me, it's still GT350R. This is faster for sure. It has 120 more or 125 more horsepower, so and that's a lot. And you can run it hard, and on a track, this would probably win. Honestly, I think this would probably win in a race against the GT350R. However, I will say that both this and the GT350R are faster than I am capable of driving them, and that means, you know, I went out with Lee Keen in this car, and the guy is a madman. He can wheel his face off, and I can't go that fast. And so this car and that car, the limiting factor in both those cars' performance is me. And unless you happen to be a professional racing driver, the limiting factor in those cars' performance is going to be you as well, not the car. So on any given day, GT350R versus ZL1, the better driver will win that race. And unless you happen to be the better driver, it doesn't really matter. You gotta choose the car that really speaks to you. And while this car is an unbelievably functional tool for the job of going fast, you know, and it looks good, and it seems like it's made well, and it's extremely fast, I will say that what it does not do is stir the soul. It doesn't stir, well, it doesn't stir my soul anyway, and in the way that beautiful Voodoo flat plane crank does. So I'm sticking with Team Shelby. It's not because I'm a Ford fanboy. I'm not going to making an offer to buy this car right now. But I will say we can end our video with this. If I admitted what that speed was, that's a jail time number right there, folks. It is easy to get into trouble with this thing. And one note on speeds before I finish this video up. You know, in a car like the Viper ACR, that big downforce package reduces the top speed by a big number, from like 207 to 175 or something like that. In this car, this downforce package only reduces the top speed by 8 miles an hour. So the ZL1 1LE will still do 190 miles an hour flat out. And I believe that unquestionably. This car is ridiculously fast. Wow, okay, before I get into trouble, I'm going to call that game. What a fine performance machine this is. It's something wonderful. It takes a lot of driver to tame it. Really does. I managed to not crash it, but that wasn't without quite a bit of stress on my part and a lot of care in terms of working my way up. You don't want to be the kind of guy with this car who just jumps in it and thinks that you are, you know, Ayrton Senna, because you're going to have a real bad day. But if you can tame it, it's incredibly rewarding. From North Carolina, thank you for watching, and that's the Camaro ZL1 1LE. See you guys later.